So today's video is a bit long. It's about 16 minutes. It only covers the first 4 laps and maybe the last lap, but there's some entertaining footage as the race cars stayed pretty close to each other. We'll let Carrie Ann put the cars on track for us, and then I'll come back.
Someone's having trouble. Getting out. There he goes.
So these next 2 slides are just to give you an idea of how we study our data from our track time to try and improve our speed on the track. You wouldn't think so, but there's a lot more to it than just getting in and stomping on the gas and hoping for the best. This is a measures graph. The blue line is my speed relative to Vince's red line. If you look at the bottom, it's particularly easy to see. I'm ahead of him in the beginning, and then I fall behind, and then I regain a little time. And so this is just one of the items we look at. The winds were quite high, 20-30 knots, and they're really blowing on the microphone the camera Carrie Ann is using, so I'm going to turn down some of these exterior shots just to spare your ears. That was the start of the race, as you saw. Vince is right in front of me now in the red car, and we're stuck with that white prototype behind the red Radical, if that means anything to anyone. We actually had faster lap times than the Radical, or our very fastest lap was faster than his, but we just couldn't quite get in front of him, and the times were close enough it wasn't easy to pass him. This is the end of lap 9 here. You'll see it again from the inside in just a moment, and I get to make a pretty good run on Vince coming out of turn 9 here and pass him coming down in turn 1. Similar to yesterday, but actually even a little easier for some reason today. Yes, I was tempted to try and pass the Radical right there, the red car in front of me, and probably should have, because I think if we'd gotten in front of him, he would have had the same problem, not enough speed to catch us and pass us. The white car you saw just go by, that's a prototype that had some kind of problems yesterday. It was stuck in the back of the field, and in a little while you'll see a problem. Yesterday, the 2 red cars were in that same position, and Vince had a throttle issue and caused the other car to go off track, but today nice and clean. Everybody's behaving at this point, even the white car. I have a caption here, but watch real close. Vince's front end right there, he just took a big wiggle. That allows me to catch up and get right behind him and draft him all the way around turn 7, 8, and 9. And as we saw in the exterior clip, you'll see me go by. I think we got that bell in the recording, didn't we? So if you saw yesterday's video, Vince made a mistake and went in a little early. He might have done a little bit so today, but mostly I'm just in a good position and driving out of this corner with a lot of speed, about 10 miles per hour speed differential, I think there. again, looking at the data you don't want to see. Anyway, pulled off that pass, and now we're starting the second lap here. So I got past Vince. He's right behind me still. But that red Radical car is holding up the white prototype and the green and white Formula Enterprise. And truthfully, at this point, my car's feeling pretty good, and I think I'm going to get up there and pass these guys. Doesn't really end up working out quite that way. The white prototype on the next lap will have a bit of an issue, kind of holds us up. And Vince and I aren't quite fast enough yet to chase down those Formula Enterprises. They're pretty fast. And the prototype's, of course, a completely different kind of car, different class. As the caption indicated, my camera's kind of pointing towards the sky now after the strike by the tire debris. The tire debris will become more of a factor here in a few minutes, as you'll see. But I still used a lot of this footage with the camera pointed up, since we can see the cars a little bit. But the sky is just so beautiful. I'm kind of distracted by it. It's just gorgeous and gets prettier as the race goes on. Let's go back to native audio here. I said native audio, but with the wind, that is just too much. This is the start of the third lap, and as we'll see here in a moment, I'll point out a couple wiggles by the white car prototype. And since that big chunk of rubber came off, I'm kind of suspecting that he's having some kind of problem here. Actually, it's not going to be too apparent from here, but when we switch back to the in-car video, you'll see what we're talking about. You saw a little slide there from him. And then he'll pull over right here as he comes down the hill and let Vince and I go by. And that'll be real apparent here in the next clip.
Uh-oh, spin back there.
You probably heard Carrie Ann's concerns about Vince being right behind me as we pass the prototype. There's the first big slide you see, and then a second wiggle. And then right up here he's wiggling again, and then really gets sideways there. And he's got some kind of problem. A white prototype passes us again later. I couldn't tell if it was that one or just the guy in the lead that lapped us or something. But anyway, that's the prototype, and now we're being chased by Vince, and as it indicates, this is about the fourth lap now. This gap, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, is pretty well maintained throughout the race. I do 11 laps in 1 minute and 21 second range, and Vince does 9, and so we're basically just dead even. I think at the end of the race you'll hear our fastest laps, and they were within I think 4 thousandths of each other by the official timing anyway. So we're gonna skip ahead here and enjoy some of the beautiful sky shots that the in-car camera gets. Okay, here's one of those sky shots. Really pretty as that prototype goes by, I mentioned. If you notice the lap counter on the left-hand side there, we've jumped ahead about 12 laps or so. I'm sorry, 10 laps. We're up on lap 14 now. I managed to keep up with the prototype pretty well for a little while. I'm pretty sure the car's got 119s in it. I'm just still learning how to get every last bit out of it without scaring myself to death. And now we're on lap 16, and actually finishing 16 and going to start lap 17. That prototype is I was pretty close to most for those last 2 laps, but now it's passing Daryl. And here's Daryl right in front of us. We've caught up with him, and Vince is right behind us. And both of us, without really discussing it, decide to just ease on in on this last lap, not have any last-minute heroics. And we get a great shot here at the end of the 3 cars coming across the start-finish line. And it was what I was thinking and worked out great. Got lucky. And Daryl had a good race, had equaled his fastest times at the track yet. He's still 3 or 4 seconds behind us, but as he'll mention in the podium speech, that's about where he should be. It's only his 2nd year, probably his 8th or 10th race ever, and so he's still learning and should be at this point. I said Daryl was still learning, but the truth is Vince and I are too. Some of the guys up in Northern California are still a couple seconds faster than us, but we're catching them every time. This is that great shot. You can obviously see Daryl there, and me, I hold up and go beside him, checkered flag, and Vince is right behind us. You'll see that in the exterior shot. Carrie Ann made a great video there.
Don't let him lie. Damn traffic. Is that Daryl? Daryl, get out of the way. Bye, Daryl.
Yes, that person there that I'm waving at is Carrie Ann. She's all bundled up. She's such a trooper, and she's so good at getting some of these great shots for us from the stands that really enhance the videos for me. I hope they do for you.
Where's Kyle? You're over here, Daryl, and Robert's in the middle, and Vince is on the other side. There you go. Good job. There you go. Cameras. There you go.
Yeah, he hates it.
You know how much? 4,000 of a second. Fastest lap. 4,000 of a second apart. Wow. My goodness. 121.64 to 121.164 to 121.168. 4,000ths of a second.
Right on, guys. I do want to thank all of the workers out there. You know, it was miserable yesterday and this morning even, so thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun racing with Robert. We had a great time. It was fun racing with Daryl too. We got to see him there and do a 3-way at the finish, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, it was.
You got to catch these guys now.
I'm doing my best. It's only my 2nd year. I'm just doing my best to catch up with guys doing it for 30 years. But hey, I too want to thank the SCCA guys. Special love out to CC and for sure Lenny, Bob, my guys Frankie, Carrie Ann, the whole group. Just amazing. Cars running great all weekend. Good job. Well said, guys.
And just for the record, our AIM data off our cars showed Vince was 0.2 faster than me, 120.913. So, and his virtual best was a 119.553. So once he puts some sexters together, he's going to be smoking. I'm going to have a hard time keeping up. can't thank the crew enough. The weather was not great, wet, cold, windy, so they're awesome. Sue, Carrie Ann, I love you guys.